So today's video, I thought I would concentrate about things that, people are saying or what we should do. And it's about food that has expired. So this is like your licensure, and when one goes down, it means it's broken down. Communication breakdown, right? Your license breakdown. So it's expiration date. That's past due, and so there are many foods that we have in our pantry, we have stored, or in our cabinets, that you can still use after it's expired. Now, and I say this at this time because it's the holidays and people are going, oh, I need to throw it out, and you're going, no, you don't need to, because there's some things that maybe we don't use all the time, but you can still have it and not throw it away. So, let's look and see which ones those are. And the first one is honey. Honey, because remember, this is sugar or sweet. Honey, because if it looks like it's kind of like had that that crystal on top, you just heat it up and then it just becomes your regular honey again. So it never expires, never. So that's the first one, is honey. And then the second one is white rice. Remember, we did we could spell it, or we did rice, and we did initialize it because this is like a spoon, but rice is the sign for that. And then like C for cereal, which we're well, I was going to use it, but I don't think cereal, you do need to throw that away after a while because it comes soggy. Okay, so white rice, and it says that maybe it's expired, but it's really still good if it's kept stored. Here's your little storage area, and you're going to put in there if it's stored properly. So that means what? That it's dry. So you don't want it to have where there's moisture, where you're going to get like bugs or mold. Okay. So, and then your hard cheese, not your soft cheese, but your hard cheese, which is a little bit different, but that's like cheddar, Parmesan, if I can spell it correctly, Gouda. Those are your hard ones, and they can stay in your refrigerator past that expiration date. It says about 3 to 4 weeks. So you could do 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks. You could do it that way too. Canned vegetables, because that's why you can it, right? And your grandmother or your great-grandmother would can foods and vegetables and even meat and just different foods, and it would just stay there like for a year, right? Because that was the whole point. And it says it can be like 2 to 5 years is the maximum. And I did maximum first, maximum 2 to 5 years. So that's pretty cool. So that's if the can or the jar has not been damaged. That lid, you don't want it damaged. Or if your can has a dent in it, you might want to use it earlier. But other than that, it can stay good from 2 to 5 years maximum. Okay. Then the next one is soy sauce. And the reason why it'll keep almost forever is because it has a high salt volume or amount. So a lot, or it has a lot of salt, or salt a lot, or you can say volume, but I probably would not sign that. I would say it has salt a lot. Soy sauce, salt a lot. And so that keeps it preserved. So remember, this is we like save money and save something preserved. This is storage. I'm going to keep it. It depends on the context. And I was going to look and see. It says 4 to 5 years. Woo, that's a long time. But it says it's because of the salt. And then vinegar. Now, remember, this was lemon, or this is bitter, and you have that whole facial vinegar. See, this is vegetables, but vinegar. You have that whole bitter, you look on your face. Vinegar. And it says it'll keep forever. So it's preserved forever because that's the whole point of vinegar, right? Vinegar. You got to have the whole facial thing, so it's hard when you're just talking. Okay. Salt, it's been in the earth what forever, so it'll keep if you don't have it moist, so things will get in it or bugs or anything like that. Many people will put rice, like if you live in the south, then you can put salt in there. I mean, rice in your salt, and then it can keep it dry, and so it's preserved longer. Okay, so because it's like the salt, if it has moisture, it has like it's lumped, right? But it's not bad anyway, so you would just have to dissolve it. But that's why people put the rice in it. Okay, the next one is sugar, and so you can keep it dry. And so if you do that, then it should be fine. I don't know if it has a particular, doesn't say, but it says that you don't want, bugs in it, so just be careful with that. Make sure it's in this tight, container, and it's dry, so it'll keep. And it doesn't say, so probably forever. And then dried pasta, and it could be any kind of pasta. It could be macaroni or, any of those noodles, round or whatever. It looks like a spaghetti. I just did this as pasta because that's kind of a general, but if you want to be specific about which type of pasta, you can spell it or do its shape. But if it's dry and it's kept in a container where you're not going to have moisture in it, and that'll keep like forever, right? So, but if it's moist or it smells or you see bugs, then you don't want to use it, of course. Peanut butter. I was kind of surprised that it'll keep. I mean, I know it'll keep a while, but it has that oil in it because of the natural peanut oil is in there. So I thought maybe that it would go bad, but it says that if you store it correctly, um, that the high oil makes it resistant to bacteria. I didn't know that. So, but it says that it will separate, but you just kind of stir it up again. Or if you want to keep it in the refrigerator, that's going to slow down that oil separation. So, but it'll keep it, it says for a long time. So, you know, 3 to 6 months past the expiration date. So that's pretty cool. So you don't have to worry about your peanut butter. And then pure maple syrup. And I know if it's real and not the fake kind, then it will keep longer. But it needs to be, in a tight container. Make sure that lid is stored properly. And it says that you can put it in the freezer. I didn't know that, and it'll keep it fresh. This is new, and you can do F for fresh if you want that specific word, but new, fresh. Anyway, it says it can last forever. So if it doesn't get too hot, or if it's in a tight container, you can freeze it or whatever. I know you can freeze it. And then dried. Remember I said spices some time ago, like our salt and pepper, but spices, like some you don't use regularly because it's special, maybe for the holidays. But dried spices will keep, but they're saying if you only use it like one time every year, you might want to just check it out for flavor before you use it in a recipe to make sure that they still have their flavor. And don't buy too big of a container. Like you can go to Costco or Sam's or whatever and buy the big kind, right? So this is maybe a smaller kind that you would use. But anyway, it says it'll even if it's past the expiration date, it'll stay just fine for flavor 1 to 4 years after the expiration date. So, and even bottled water, if it's not open, it will keep. So It says that it's because people kind of be concerned about the plastic, so you don't want it hot. You want it in a cooler place, and sometimes that's harder. Depends on where you live. Because and when they say hot, that means like the sun, direct sunlight, or in your car. It's just too hot. So it's really the plastic container. So you might want to just use it, but if you have it in those big, the 5-gallon bottles, I mean, normally you don't keep it outside, but it's the plastic that can break down. Right? You fall down or you break down, that gets into the water, and that's more the danger part. Um, so you can still use it. I mean, forever, right? It'll keep as long as you keep it safe and it's not out in the sun or it's too hot like in your car. Um, and then they said like instant coffee. I thought coffee beans would be better, right? But it says that you can keep it for months after it expires. I would think that the coffee beans would be more safe because they're not ground up. But I guess some people use like instant coffee. Um, but it says that you can keep it for months, after that expiration date. Remember, month and then months. When you put a plural on it, you want to do more than one. And most people just do, you could do one. It depends on how fast someone's talking, if you're interpreting. But if you're talking, you say, I can keep it for months. You could even do it 3 or 4 times. It doesn't really matter. But anywhere when you do multiples from two to three is the norm, just because that's just too long unless you really want to elongate it out. Okay, so those are the foods that you can keep after it's expired. That's the most common that people are kind of concerned about. But your spices, if you're going to be cooking for, like Thanksgiving or Christmas or something special, and you're going, oh, I haven't used that in a long time, taste it first to find out if it's strong enough, like your cayenne pepper or, just the different things, your cinnamon. You'd want to try that out before you put it into a recipe, and you're going, oh, it doesn't have any flavor, and you're going, oh, how long have you had that? You look on it and it says 1999 or something like that. So, but they will keep for a long time. I mean, in 1 year, I don't think it's going to be a problem, but if it's for several years, you might want to check it out. Just because it doesn't have the flavor, it's not going to ruin or be bad for you. It's not going to have the flavor. So anyway, so I hope this is helpful, and then you can practice some of the signs that we used. And so I hope you have a good day. Bye.